Let's start in fantasy land, if we could. Just close your eyes. I'm not putting a jersey on this. I'm not putting a location on this. But you're suiting up, and LeBron James is suiting up, and whatever jersey you're wearing, it's in the same one. What would that look like?
29, what year was that? 2021 in Atlanta, All-Star Weekend. It was like as close as we got, possibly the Olympics. But in Fantasyland, when it comes to the NBA, I know that was a shock to the world in the sense of the what ifs. And I was telling somebody, it's like if you're around this league long enough, you're gonna get surprised with some stuff that you thought would never be possible. But a little blip on the radar that turned everybody's heads, but we keep moving.
Well, it's always fun to think about two of the greatest to ever do it to suit up. But let's come back, trip down fantasy lane over. Let's ground back in reality. The last game before All-Star break, Klay Thompson comes off of the bench for the first time since 2012. What was that like? I imagine it was weird for you to be in the starting lineup and not look over and see your splash brother.
It was weird. I've come off the bench a couple of times and seen him start, so it was weird to switch roles. But for him, there's only one way for him to respond, the way that it's the way that he did. I think there's been a lot of narratives around his season, and since he's come back from his injuries, and some fair, some a lot unfair.
Yeah.
And I think the natural evolution of all of our careers is trying to figure out how to continue to win, but it might look a little different. And the way that he responded is the Klay Thompson that I know, that the true competitor, the true dog. Like, he got pissed off and said, watch this. And I think a lot of it is just knowing who he is. So however it looks moving forward, for us it's always been about like our team success is the root of everything, and he is as important to that as anybody.
You called this team average recently. Why is that?
Our record was, we were one game above 500, and you are what your record says you are. So until we, truly get over the hump and get real momentum that allows us to climb up the standings a little bit, and I know we're capable of it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to be real with yourself that where we are is not good enough, even though it's better than where we were, a month ago. So the way the season has gone, I think the best is, in front of us, and it's looked a lot different this year. We've had some guys really step up. We've had some young guys step into some prominent roles. Pajemski, J.K.'s taking his jump. Wiggs is playing motivated basketball right now, so it's nice to have Draymond back.
Yeah.
You got all the pieces finally, and hopefully CP gets back sooner than later. Like I said, hopefully the best of Warrior basketball is in front of us.
The Western Conference, it's pretty packed though. The top four seeds are separated by 3 games? You're 5 back of the 5th seed though. So what does the path forward, the path up look like for you?
I think it starts with just winning at home for us. We've always had a strong home court advantage. I think we're 500 at home right now. So if we can protect our home court, we understand that we've played better on the road and we've played better against the top teams. We've had some tough fourth quarter stretches that didn't go our way, and that's the difference between being 5, 6 in the standings versus 9, 10 where we are. But if we take care of home court, we got 30 games left. I feel like we can steadily climb, and as long as we get into the playoffs, no matter how we get there, whether it's the play-in or whether it's climbing into the 6th spot or whatever, we know we're a tough out. We know nobody wants to see us when we get there. We just got to get there.
Yeah, you like your chances once you're there. You like your chances. We're at All-Star Weekend. It's your 10th All-Star. When you're at these types of events, when you're looking around at the young guys in the Rising Stars Challenge and people, you're playing against Sabrina and these sort of almost commemorative moments at this point, does it make you think about your own basketball mortality at all?
Definitely, but it's a motivator for sure because, like you say, you look in the locker room, and Edwards, who's here for the 2nd time, he just yelled at me during practice, came a long way from your camp. And I remember him, being a Curry camp participant, and going through 3 days of skill work with me out there, and now playing with him and an All-Star weekend. So to your question, like, it does remind you that this isn't going to be around forever. I'd never take it for granted, but it's a reminder of how hard it is to be acknowledged as an All-Star every year. I feel like I still got a little bit more left in me, but at year 15 and my 10th year here in All-Star weekend, like, it's not going to be around forever. So to enjoy every moment, and be present, because it's a lot, and I think we appreciate every moment.
Yeah, I was just talking to Kevin about that, and about how he sometimes looks around and he's like, I feel old now. Like, this is, I feel
you don't
like...
want to acknowledge it. That's the hard part. You gotta have a little bit of both.
You gotta have a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But do you think about how long you want to do this?
I do, but it's the more I think about it, like I said, the more motivated I get. I work as hard as I've ever worked to maintain this level. So you're trying to redefine what that could actually look like. I think the lesson I've learned is not to put any limitations on it, but approach every year like this could be the last year. Like, who knows? And then you just keep that same energy until you wake up one day and it's time to call it quits.
Yeah. I think right before your first round series against the Sacramento Kings last year, we sat down and I checked in with you. Do you still feel like you were in your prime? You said yes.
Yeah.
What about now?
I do. It definitely feels a little different after I finish every game, where you got to do a little bit more recovery, got to do a little bit more preparation.
Out,
yeah, exactly. There's a little bit more that goes into it, but I know I can still reach that level of impact on the court that I'm used to. So yeah, definitely feel like I am. Even if you have to be a little delusional, telling yourself, who you are. I think, like I said, I work extremely hard. I'm surrounded by people that are pouring into me every day, and I feel like that energy is what keeps me going.
You've always had this levelness to you, this patience to you, but as you continue to race against that clock, to want to win more championships, because you're one of the most competitive people that I know, do you feel like you're as patient as you once were with how this team goes through ups and downs?
You're around this league long enough, you know what goes into building a championship DNA. And like with me, Draymond, and Klay, we've been doing this for over a decade.
Yeah.
And since the 22 finals, you understand, like, the margins decrease as you get a little deeper into your career. Like, the little things that impact winning are so precious, and reminding ourselves of it, and also bringing along the younger guys to get them to that level. So there's always patience within that. There's also like a realism of it's really hard to compete for a championship every year. You look at the history of the league, it's not like everybody, you name it, the legend that Kobe, Shaq, Michael, like Bron, you look at all those guys that played so many years and played at such a high level. They didn't make the finals every year. Like, it wasn't, a given. And so you have to understand, like, where you are and how far you are from where you want to be and what it's going to take to get there. Because there's ebbs and flows, and you look around, there's so much talent in the league right now.
Yeah.
So you have to embrace it. And I think the patience that comes with that is, I know we still are capable of doing it, and we're gonna keep working for it.
You've always said you wanted to go out with the same folks you rode in with Draymond, with Klay. Do you still believe that the three of you will be Golden State Warriors and that's it for life?
100%. And I think that's always been a motivator for us. And I think the way that we talk about it is we want to not only end our career as a Warrior, not only continue to compete at a very high level, but you want to end it the right way. I think we've been through a lot this year, and the three of us, especially with Draymond's absence for a while, with Klay taking on a new role, the new cast of characters that we have that are right alongside us in this journey. I think it's extremely possible to accomplish both. We just have to protect the identity of who we are
Yeah.
as best we can. And I think we're moving in that right direction.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Keep them going, try to wear, I pull up long range. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA on ESPN.